I think the most intriguing thing about Hallows Part 1 is the fact that we're not at Hogwarts anymore. We're away from that safe environment that these characters that we've grown up with, they're away from that magical place. They're in the big, bad world. And it's a dangerous and it's a scary place. And it was really interesting filming Part 1 because, you know, I've made 2 of these movies prior to tackling Deathly Hallows. And we've always been in Hogwarts, and Hogwarts is this wonderful place, magical place, and it sort of feels very safe, even when the characters are in utter jeopardy. And then suddenly you take them out on the road and they feel very small in this very big world. And it's a very real world, and it's a very dangerous world. And you're taken away from all the kind of things that made the jeopardy before feel manageable and containable. Harry's in this really tricky position. He adored Dumbledore, who was his mentor, his teacher, his master. But Dumbledore hasn't really left Harry with a plan as such. So Harry's in this difficult position where he has to go and find these Horcruxes and destroy them, but he doesn't really have a clear idea of how to do that because Dumbledore didn't leave enough information with him. And what makes it doubly difficult for Harry is he has to take his friends with him, which puts them in jeopardy. And there's this crisis of faith in the first film for Harry and for his friends in terms of their relationship with him, because they think, well, where are we going and how are we going to start? And he doesn't have the answers. And so it's a real test of their relationship, which gives us one of the most interesting sort of elements of the film, I think. Voldemort is on the cusp of absolute power, so he's in a very good place in terms of he's been hiding in the shadows for so long, biding his time to come back and to take control of the Muggle world, to take control of the wizard world. Now the thing that stopped him from doing that is he has this adversary and who doesn't quite understand, Harry Potter. He's tried to kill him several times, unsuccessfully, and he needs to know why that is the case. Everything else in terms of his master plan and his ambitions and his, you know, his desire to impose his will and his order on the rest of the wizarding, all that's going to be fine. He just needs to deal with this child. It kind of becomes a road movie, and they're constantly being chased by by snatchers, who are these groups of people, the lowest of the low really, the people who've been let out of all that wizard prisons, who have now been given responsibility and authority by the people who are now running the ministry to basically round up undesirable elements, mudbloods, you know, enemies of the state. And so you have these groups of basically mercenaries going around rounding up and killing people who they deem to be a threat to the ministry, and they have the authority to do that. So Harry, Ron and Hermione are constantly on the run. Ron and Hermione's relationship has always been on a sort of delicate balance where they've never quite expressed or resolved or worked out in each other's heads how they feel for each other. They just kind of like each other, but they've never... So it's this beautifully unrequited, slightly awkward dynamic which the audience, I know, and the characters, long to have resolved.